The character of Kuma has changed right in front of our eyes from what the government has dubbed him as, the tyrant of the sea, to a benevolent friend, guardian, and most importantly, father. A character of immense strength and mystery, Kuma has intrigued fans since his debut. From his connections to the Revolutionary Army to becoming a pacifista, Kuma's journey is nothing short of extraordinary and heartbreaking. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Enjoy.
Navy headquarters for Rijwa, announcing the arrival of warlords Don Quixote Doflamingo and Bartholomew Kuma.
Introduced as one of the 7 warlords of the sea, Kuma struck fear into the hearts of pirates, and when he was properly introduced to us in Thriller Bark, he definitely had both us and the Straw Hats shook. We see him again at Sabondi. We find out that the government has essentially cloned him and weaponized him, calling these clones pacifistas. But this was not his only involvement in the arc, as he later dismantles the Straw Hats, sending them to different parts of the world, saving them from almost certain doom. Kuma, being the man that he was, stayed behind guarding the sun. Even after he became a robot, he made sure they programmed him so that he stays and protect the ship until the Straw Hats returned. After we find out that he lost his personality, we knew his story was going to be sad, but little did we know it was much worse than we could have ever imagined. The Revolutionary Army and Bonnie came to save Kuma. They succeeded at capturing and escaping with the husk of the man that they once knew and loved. But the Kuma that they knew was gone. But to understand the man, you have to go back and understand where he came from. So anime onlys, if you don't want to be spoiled, this is the perfect time because spoilers of the manga are coming. In the manga, we found out that he was from a race of people that the government desperately tried to extinguish, called the Buccaneers. With his father, Clap, being a buccaneer and his mother a regular human, the Buccaneers are said to be of giant blood, and we suspected that Joy Boy maybe could have descended from that race too. The government captured Kuma and his entire families and made them slaves at Marijoa. His mom died and his dad was shot right in front of him as slaves. A few years later, the young buccaneer orphan tried to escape and was caught and placed as part of the hunt for the celestial dragons at God Valley, where, as we know, was where a lot of crazy things went down with Rox, Roger, Garp, all the heavy hitters that you know, and our boy Kuma was there. But not only was he there, he was part of Ginny and Ivankov. Ginny, who essentially orchestrated the entire war of God Valley. She told and leaked the information that the celestial dragons are going to be fighting there, and they have taken some things from Rox and they will be there. Ivankov essentially stood up as the leader of the slaves, orchestrated them getting devil fruits, and that's where he got his pawpaw fruit. Almost getting killed by Jay Garcia, who said you can either live as a slave or die, like you have no other options. Amid the chaos, he managed to escape, not only him but saving 500 lives, which was immense for somebody that just got their devil fruit that day. This was where he kind of had a moment of peace for a couple of years, him and Ginny. They lived together, helping people in the neighborhood. He went back to his old town where his dad was essentially a priest in that city, so he became a priest also. And he lived there for a number of years until things went belly up, as they always do for Kuma. He ended up being involved in a revolution, which he got saved by Eva and the Revolutionary Army with Dragon. And this was where they founded the Revolutionary Army. So he joined the Revolutionary Army in its infancy with Ginny. For Ginny, this was going to be a horrible decision, as years later, she gets captured by a celestial dragon that fancies her. For 2 years, she was missing. Dragon did absolutely nothing. Kuma fought with his heart and soul, like running around battlefields. He was haggard, and she escaped. She called them, telling them that she has finally escaped after 2 years, but she has an incurable disease. But she has a daughter, her daughter called Bonnie. This was a moment of respite, even though it was a sad moment for Kuma. He was sad that he has essentially lost somebody that he loved and he grew up with. But she left behind a daughter, and he promised her he was going to take care of the daughter as his own. For the next couple of years, everything was going great. He was moonlighting as a revolutionary, but he was a full-time dad. The people in the village helped him raise the kid. Everything was going phenomenal. And one day, Bonnie had a spot similar to the spots that her mom had. She also was developing a case of the sapphire disease. So Kuma spent the next couple of years running around trying to find how he can save his daughter. He couldn't find anything until Dragon told him about a scientist called Vegapunk. Kuma, being the kind of guy he was, he found a way to meet Vegapunk with his daughter, and he told him about the situation. Vegapunk agreed to help, but it was not as straightforward as you would imagine. Vegapunk agreed, but there was leaks in the lab, and the Gorosei heard about this, and specifically J Saturn. He forced Kuma to sign a deal, essentially his daughter's life for his. He instantly agreed to this. He thought this was a no-brainer agreement. Over the years, Kuma became a government dog, doing everything that the government needed him to do. And eventually, he was in the East Blue. He knew Dragon had a son in the East Blue, and he wanted to see Luffy. Luffy didn't know about him, but he snuck a glance at Luffy, saw Luffy training. This was after Ace had left. And that's when he started believing that Luffy could be something. His crew in Thriller Bark, they were willing to stand up for this kid. And that's when he thought Luffy could be something, and his faith in Luffy grew. When he punched the Tenryubito, that was when it was cemented, and that's when he knew he had to save Luffy. By him putting all of them to go at different corners of the world to train, because he knew they were not ready for the new world. And after they returned, Kuma has already lost his personality, which leads us to where he is currently. After he got saved by the revolutionary, he flew back to Marijoa, clashed with Kainu. He left Marijoa flying. We didn't know where he was going until we saw him at Egghead. He gave the most satisfying punch in the entire series, and for me that was nicely written by Oda. Very poetic because of what Jay Garcia has done to him and his family in the past. But anyway, let us know what your favorite Kuma moments are. If you think Kuma is gonna get back his personality, what's gonna happen with the character in the future, let us know down below in the comments. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Thumbs out.